Next, we'll have Dr. Eckhart Grohman, retired president of Aluminum Casting and Engineering Company and MSOE Regent, and he will introduce our speaker.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am very happy to introduce today's speaker, Dr. John Walz. Dr. Walz assumed the presidency of the Milwaukee School of Engineering 2 years ago and is only the 5th president of the MSOE's 115-year history. He assumes the leadership role of his predecessor, Dr. Herman Wietz, who unfortunately passed away last year and was also a fellow member of our club here. Dr. Walz is a native of Ponchatoula, Louisiana. He earned a degree in chemical engineering from Tulane University, close to his hometown of Ponchatoula. After graduation, he worked as a process support engineer for Shell Oil Company at its plant in New Orleans, Louisiana. Dr. Walz took a leave of absence from Shell Oil Company to obtain a PhD in chemical engineering from Carnegie Mellon University in 1992. He assumed teaching roles in chemical engineering at the Carnegie Mellon University, the Tulane University, and Yale University, where he became the chairman of the Yale Chemical Engineering Department. Before joining MSOE, Dr. Walz was the dean of the College of Engineering at the University of Kentucky. Dr. Walz is married to his wife, Moira, and they have 3 daughters, Emily, Bridget, and Megan. He lives at the Humphrey House at the MSOE campus. John will tell you now all about the new MSOE development into computational science using a new faculty building currently under construction that will house one of the biggest supercomputers to teach artificial intelligence, AI. Meet Dr. John Walz.
Thank you very much, Eckhart, and it is a pleasure to be here and to talk to you a little bit about my favorite institution, MSOE. And before I begin, I want to thank and acknowledge Dr. Grohman. He is a member of our Board of Regents, and I have said many times that MSOE has no greater friend than Eckhart Grohman, and he is here with his wife, Ishi. We're very happy to have him. I'd also like to acknowledge another member of our Board of Regents who is with us today, and that's Dr. Michael Barber. He's a member of our region. He's a great supporter of our school, but not any greater than his wonderful wife, Jackie Barber, who is on our corporate board and received an honorary degree from our school at our May commencement just a few months ago. So great, a lot of great support. And finally, we have a number of people from MSOE with us today, including my entire leadership team. I'm just going to ask that they all just stand up, if they don't mind, all the MSOE folks. Thank you. And one who didn't stand is my assistant, Kelly, who's working the slides in the back. She's great. So it's an honor to be here. I've been in Milwaukee now for 2 years. And during that time, I've really come to appreciate and learn more about the very strong relationship that our university has with the Milwaukee Rotary. And this really extends way back to our formation, back in 1903, starting with Oscar Wehrwath. And it continued with his son, the second president, Carl Wehrwath, onto our third president, Dr. Robert Spitzer, and then my predecessor, the fourth president, as Eckhart mentioned, the late Dr. Herman Wietz. And it turns out Dr. Spitzer was recently recognized by the Wisconsin Historical Society And he actually acknowledged his relationship with Rotary, his membership, and the great friendships that he made as one of the reasons for his success. So it is great to be able to continue that relationship by being here. I also want to acknowledge and thank Rotary for all of their support for an organization called Engineers Without Borders. It is an organization that's doing a lot of great work. It is a very important organization for us, and I'm happy to have our faculty advisor, MSOE faculty advisor for Engineers Without Borders here with us, and that's Dr. Doug Stahl. So Doug, thank you. Okay. Thank you. So if you've seen the news lately, or if you've driven by our campus, you'll see that we have a lot of construction going on. And among that construction is a large hole in the ground right on the corner of State and Milwaukee. And in a few weeks, that hole in the ground will transform itself into the foundation for our newest academic building, the Dwight and Diane Derrick's Computational Science Hall, which I'll talk a bit more about later in the talk. But I want to focus on that word foundation because it really is an important word for us, and I'll refer back to that several times throughout my talk. So let's see if this works. Yeah. So let's go back to our history. So we were started in 1903, same year as the Allen Bradley Company and Harley-Davidson, by a young German immigrant by the name of Oscar Werwa. And he started a school to teach electrical engineers primarily to support the growing industry around the city of Milwaukee. And there are a lot of technical schools that were popping up around the country during that time. So Oscar had a very unique approach, what he called the concentric approach, and it's really one of the distinctions about MSOE. He led with the applications. He focused on the applications. He would teach that first and then use the theory to explain the application. And that's very different than the way many of us, including myself, learned engineering. But it worked extremely well. So not surprisingly, there were very, very close ties with industry in Oscar's day, and those close ties and partnerships have continued throughout the history of MSOE, and as you'll see, they continue today. So in Oscar's time, back in the start, the important technologies was electrical and mechanical power. Today, it's artificial intelligence and deep learning. But even though we are a very different school today than we were then, there's one thing that has not changed about MSOE, and that is that focus on the applications. That is still what makes us distinct. We are very application-focused education. And if I can tell you what is my own guiding foundation as president, it's don't mess that up, because it works really, really well. So there are a lot of statistics I could tell you about who we are and what we do and the impact that we have. I just want to mention a couple. We have a 95%, I'm going to use the term graduate placement rate. So 95% of our students find jobs or graduate school in their field of study. It's hard to get a lot higher than that. 60% of our students, incoming students, come from the state of Wisconsin, but 75% of our graduates are placed in the state of Wisconsin. So we are a net importer of talent, or as we like to say, we contribute to the Wisconsin brain gain. We are ranked, our engineering program is ranked among the top 10 undergraduate engineering programs in the nation by U.S. News and World Report, and Forbes magazine ranks us among America's top colleges. We were named one of the best colleges for your money by Money Magazine and rated the highest return on investment of any college or university in Wisconsin by PayScale Incorporated. And for 16 years in a row, we've been listed as one of the best universities in the Midwest by Princeton Review. So we're very proud of those, and those are just a few of the accolades that I can talk about our university. So one thing that I am constantly able to witness, because I do live on campus, is the relentless work ethic and the character of our students. We have incredible students. They're conducting research to develop a synthetic blood substitute. They're using aquaponic farming to produce food for a local homeless shelter. And they're setting a fuel economy record of 1,112 miles per gallon. So they're actually clubs, university clubs, that build vehicles to go get as many miles per gallon as you can get. And we do very well in that. And that car that you see down on the bottom was able to get over 1,100 miles per gallon. And that young lady that you see in the center was the driver of that car. It's amazing how much you can stretch out of a gallon of gasoline, isn't it? So people always ask me what has impressed me most about MSOE in the 2 years that I've been here, and I will answer that, we have outstanding faculty, we have outstanding staff, but our students are really something special. They never cease to impress me. So some of you, I assume, know quite a bit about us. Maybe some of you don't, but even those who know a bit about us, there are probably things that may surprise you. We obviously are known for having a very strong engineering school, but we have other things too. We have a great school of nursing, a school of business. We have growing programs in construction management, in user experiences, and in actuarial science. So as a bit of an aside, there's an organization called College Choice, which ranked our actuarial science program as the second best program in the country. And the placement rate for those graduates is 100%. So it's a great time to be an actuary. That's what you want to do. We offer 17 bachelor's degrees, 11 master's degrees. We have over 100 student organizations. We have 20 NCAA Division III sports teams and numerous other intramural and club sports teams. We have a very unique and strong partnership with an organization called Project Lead the Way, which some of you may have heard of. It is a national program that teaches engineering and computer science at the high school, middle school, and elementary school. It is a very strong, very great program. We are the Wisconsin affiliate for Project Lead the Way, which means we train the teachers and certify them to go back to their schools and teach these courses, this curriculum. So every year we get about 500 teachers who come during the summer and learn that. So this year, our incoming class, 300 of the incoming students this year have had Project Lead the Way experience. It is a very strong program for us. So I mentioned earlier Derrick's Hall. In about a year's time, that hole in the ground will turn into this. A beautiful building, and I'd like to acknowledge the primary architect on that building. He's Scott Ramlow. He's with us sitting over here. Scott is with Elon Wilson Ramlow Stein, and he does great work, and we're very excited about this building. So Derrick's Hall is a 64,000 square feet, 4-story building that will open in the fall of 2019. And even though it's called a computational science hall, it is meant to be much more than that. It will have modern classrooms and laboratories and study spaces and gathering spaces to support the entire university. And inside that building will be an NVIDIA supercomputer. Dwight Derrick is a senior vice president of NVIDIA in Silicon Valley. So we will have an NVIDIA supercomputer. It will be one of the largest such supercomputers in this region. And for those of you who are familiar with this, it is called a GPU-accelerated supercomputer. So it's different from the supercomputers of the past, which were CPU-based computers. These computers are extremely adept at processing massive amounts of data that you need in the world of machine learning. So we will have this computer as a resource. Around that supercomputer will be corporate partnership space. So this is space where we want corporate entities and other organizations in the region to be able to come in and work with our students and work with our faculty and staff and develop new applications for their company in this exploding world of artificial intelligence. So it is a way of continuing this foundation of supporting industry. The computer is much bigger than we would need just to teach students. It is really there to support the local community. We are very, very excited about that. So a day doesn't pass where you don't hear about AI. And AI is a very broad field. It's a very misunderstood field. But I would bet that you cannot doubt the impact that will have, its ability to solve problems. It is a transformative new technology. Some people say it will be a bigger impact than the internet. So I do want to show you a video. This was a video that was put together by NVIDIA. And I think it just shows you some of the things that will happen in the world of artificial intelligence.
I am a visionary, exploring a universe of data to sharpen our view of the most distant galaxies, and studying black holes to help prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. I am a healer, giving doctors the power to turn mountains of data into life-saving breakthroughs. identifying diseases like leukemia from a simple drop of blood, even in our own homes, and finding new ways to bring cures to market faster. I am a protector, keeping our oceans safe from invasive species, and helping our crops flourish while minimizing pesticides. I am a helper, assisting customers in stores and the disabled in their homes. I am a navigator, mapping our world 1 millimeter at a time, and making even the largest self-driving vehicles safer for the long haul. I am a creator, learning to paint from the masters and applying their styles to create original works of art. I am a teacher, analyzing 500,000 player moves every game to identify strengths and weaknesses. And a learner, discovering new strategies from complex games. I am even the composer of the music you're hearing. I am AI, brought to life by NVIDIA, deep learning, and brilliant minds everywhere.
One of the things that I want to mention to you is this fall we're going to start a new degree program in computer science. It is our newest degree program. We currently do not have a computer science degree right now. And it is not going to be any vanilla type of computer science degree. It is going to have a built-in focus on artificial intelligence. It will be one of the first such degree programs in the country that has that focus, and it will put us in a league with such prominent schools like Carnegie Mellon. And like Dwight Derrick said, he invested in MSOE because we're nimble and we are uniquely positioned to be able to pull this off. And I'm always happy to say that, we always wonder about how many students we're going to get for a new degree program. Right now, we have about twice as many as we're expecting to get. So we think that is going to be a very big field for us. So building us on this foundation, the final thing I want to talk about is our strategic plan. So for about the past year, we've been going through a rigorous, comprehensive strategic planning process. It is entitled Extraordinary Together. It was built with input from all of our campus constituents, from our faculty, our staff, our regents, our our administrators, our alumni, and very importantly, our students were a vital part of pulling this together. The plan identifies 6 core values that will guide our decision process: collaboration, excellence, inclusion, innovation, integrity, and stewardship. And as we went through this process, and I was a part of it, probably the word that came up the most among the committee was culture. So our goal is to develop a culture in which every member of our community embraces these core values. The plan is organized around 3 commitments: our commitment to engaging our community, commitment to learning and discovery, and commitment to being extraordinary. So one of the things that I really like about our plan is our mission statement. I think it is a very bold, our vision statement. MSOE will set the standard for preparing leaders to solve the diverse technical challenges of the 21st century. And this is a bold standard, a bold statement to set the standard. And you've got to keep in mind that with the changing technology, the students that we're graduating today will be asked to solve problems and challenges that don't even exist today. How do you prepare such students, and how do we reach this vision? So I just want to cover a few things that are highlights from the plan that we do. The first is keep doing what we're doing now, but make it better, to build on this experiential learning, learning by doing, learning by experience. I think it is more important today than ever before. So we want to ensure that all of our students use real-world projects in their field of study, projects that can benefit society. We want to increase the level of engagement between our faculty and our students. That's one of the great things about MSOE being small and an education-focused school. There's a lot of interactions between our faculty and our students. We want to make that even stronger because studies have shown that is a critical factor in a student's success, having close engagement with the faculty member. The second thing that we want to do is work on our facilities. So we have some wonderful facilities on our campus. We have the Groman Tower and the Groman Museum and the Kern Center, facilities that were made possible by gifts from our very generous supporters. But we have areas that we need to improve upon. One of which is very important to me is our residence halls. They're a little bit dated. And if you know anything about modern residence halls around the country, they're far more than just places where students go to live. They have active living learning communities. They have classrooms in them and laboratories in them and performance studios in them. They expand and support the academic mission of the university. They're incredibly effective, not only in helping you attract students, but improving the success. I've been a part of it in my previous job, studies that show that students that are in these types of communities and are in these dorms, their GPA is higher, their success rate is higher, their graduation rate is higher. That's what we want to work toward. And the final one I'll mention is we want to better engage our community. We want to develop stronger ties with our corporate partners, our educational and our community organizations. I've mentioned Derek's Hall. That corporate partnership space is a vital part of that. And so that we're continuing that. One of the very important initiatives for us is K through 12 outreach. We want to get more touch and more contact and engagement with K through 12 students around the city to increase their interest in STEM. And we're doing a lot of that already. Just over the past year, the number of students that we've been able to impact by MSOE programs increased nearly 400%. So we're doing a lot in that area, as you can see from that picture. We want to increase the level of awareness of MSOE. So branding and marketing are very important parts of us, not just in Southeast Wisconsin, but outside the region as well. And how do we better leverage these unique assets like we have the Groman Museum and WMSOE radio station? We want to better leverage and engage our more than 20,000 alumni. All right, how do we use them? And include out of that 20,000, 2,000 of them own their own companies or are officers in a corporate foundation. That's a great resource for us. And finally, we want to build our community within. We are primarily an engineering school, and every engineering school in this country grapples with diversity. Engineering is primarily, unfortunately, still a white male discipline. It is about 20% female, and has been 20% female for the last 15 years. How do we break out of that? What are things that we can do to broaden that? I think that's incredibly important. It's not an easy task, and every school that I've been a part of is working on this. But we are committed to it, and I believe that we can make great strides in that area as well. Ethnic diversity, racial diversity, gender diversity. How do we make a more diverse and inclusive community on our campus? So we have a long relationship with this city. We are very much a part of it. We want to make this relationship even stronger. We want to be an even bigger contributor to all of the great things that are happening in our city and in our region. We're off to a great start, and I hope that maybe in the not-too-distant future you'll have me back and I can talk a little bit about all the progress that we're making. So let me just wrap up and say again, thank you for your attention and this opportunity, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you very much. Yes? Yeah. So the question was, how do we engage through our supercomputer, our AI center and our supercomputer with other universities as well? So even though we're calling that a corporate partnership space, we want this to be a resource for the region, not just corporations. So we are more than open to having discussions with other universities, the medical colleges of Wisconsin, for example. That is really what this is meant to be. And so they know what we're doing. We meet, we talk all the time. So they are aware of what's going on here. And that will be a vital part of what we want to do. And so, we want this to be a resource that schools, civic organizations that may have, or companies that can use. This is meant to be a resource for Southeast Wisconsin. So we're not limiting it to just corporation. Thank you. Yeah.
Recently, Alan Young and some of the other Foxconn executives made a subtle but important pivot in how they describe the technology they're going to produce here from 8K plus 5G to AI, 8K plus 5G. Talk about their plans there and their integration.
Well, we've had a number of discussions with Foxconn, not surprisingly. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. So the question was, Foxconn is if you talk to people from Foxconn, I used to think Foxconn was here to make glasses for Apple products, and when you meet with them, they don't talk about glasses for Apple products. They talk about 8K and 5G networks and artificial intelligence. That's their future. They are aware of what we're doing, and so we've had a number of meetings about how do we engage with them. We still have time. We're still building a facility. They're still building. Probably the first thing we'll do is we'll start off with a student project focused on some of the things that can help them and then build from there. So they're actively aware of the things. Me and my staff, my VP of Academics, Eric Baumgartner, we've had numerous meetings with Foxconn about that. And so we want to work with them. We think we can to be a part of that. Yeah.
Could you comment on that study in Sunday's paper that MSOE granted have the highest level of student debt among colleges?
So his question was to comment about the article in the Journal Sentinel that said about, we have the highest load of student debt of any school in Wisconsin. Let me tell you, I knew that question was coming, all right? So I'm prepared for it. So let me give you a couple of things about that. We take increasing our costs very seriously. That is not something that we take lightly. When we have to raise our tuition or raise our room and board, we really agonize with that, and we try to keep our costs to a minimum, balanced with the cost of doing business and the cost of rewarding our people. We also give out a lot of scholarships. We give a lot of scholarships to our students. That's point number one. Point number two is that the majority, 80% of our students are engineering students. And engineering students, it is well known, is not the cheapest major in the world. This is not, and that's especially true at MSOE. This is not a group of students taking notes in a classroom. They're building things. There's laboratories. It's hands-on intensive, and those things cost money. They cost money to run and maintain equipment. That's point number two. And the third point is that the article does not talk about outcomes. It only presents one side of that. And if you look at outcomes, we have a placement rate of 95%. You have to work hard not to get a job offer if you graduate from MSOE. The early and mid-career salaries from our graduates is the highest in Wisconsin. The return on investment for an MSOE education is the highest in Wisconsin. The national average for students defaulting on their student loans is 11.5%. At MSOE, it's less than 3%. And so, when the Smart Asset Survey 2018 Best Value Colleges in Wisconsin, we're number one. So we are going to continue to work to keep our cost as low as possible. But I completely stand by what we're doing because I think the value of the education that we offer is second to none. And, that's all I can say about that. Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah.
What's the graduation rate?
Total number of students or total students who've
Completed 4 years.
So 4 years is a tough one. The metric that's typically used is a 6-year graduation rate. And I'm going to turn to, 70%. 70? 70% second-year graduate. Now, we want that to be higher, and one of the goals in our plan is how do we increase retention? And that's a very active part of us in understanding that. So, yeah, 70%. Yeah.
You showed us in your presentation that a core value of the organization is inclusion. It seems like it showed up again in your mission statement, so I'm assuming that it's pretty important to you. And as it was a part of your strategic plan, is it anything that you would like to share with us specifically that addresses that inclusion that you'll be doing to move forward?
Yeah, so the question was, he's asking about inclusion and the importance of inclusion in our values and also in our plan. And you're right, it is a major part of it, and it's more than just diversity. Diversity is just numbers, right? We can say we're X% African American, X% female. We want to have an inclusive society too, where students feel a part of it. So that is all about building that. One of the first things that we're going to do this year is do a cultural assessment. What is the culture on our campus? Where are the challenges that we have? We want, that's one of the action plans. What are the staffing levels that we need or people to help us build that culture? How do we recruit a more diverse student body? What are the things that we can do to make our environment and our culture on our campus, among our students, among our faculty, among our staff, to be more inclusive and more diverse? And so we have whole parts of our plan which are dedicated to just that. I mean, I think the outreach programs that I've showed you, the K through 12 outreach programs that we're working out to students, we're first ambassador programs for first robotics for schools in Milwaukee. There's a whole litany of things that we're doing to help address that, to bring those in. So I'd be happy to share with that.
So is there a closer relationship to MPS at this point?
We have it in various pockets. For example, our first ambassadors program, where our students are going out to MPS schools and serving as mentors for first programs at those schools. So yes, it is happening in various parts and stages like that. One more question, my boss here. Yes. So that's a great question, and she's asking about the moral, ethical, and policy issues. So even though we are an engineering school, we have a whole range of ethics courses that our students are required to take. And that will be part of this curriculum on computer science and artificial intelligence. We understand very well the fear in some ways that some people have about AI, right? When you hear about machine learning and all that, it conjures up lots of scary things. That is going to be very much a part because we want our graduates to understand that and to be able to control that. We think the best way that we control that is have very good graduates who not only know the technology, but also understand the implications of that technology. So we don't want to just produce people who understand only the technology part of it. So it's done through we have as many ethics courses as bigger schools that are more comprehensive schools. Part of that is because we're in a quarter system. So we're one of these few remaining schools that is on this trimester quarter system. So our students take a lot of courses. To graduate from MSOE, you need 192 credit hours. So we can introduce a lot of courses into that curriculum, like ethics and things like that. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure.